When we think about America's power, we picture missiles, tanks, guns. But the most powerful weapon is the dollar. It's a silent, invisible weapon that can be used against almost every person at any time and any place. But over the last few years, it has become far less invisible. Let me take you to February 26th, 2022 at 5:13 p.m., when the United States imposed sanctions on Russia in an attempt to deter their war with Ukraine. Now, on the surface, it might have just seemed like any other set of sanctions, but this time was different. When the US had enacted sanctions before, freezing foreign assets held in American central banks, for the first time, the US froze assets held in Russian central banks. Now imagine the difference between someone who owes you money refusing to give it back to you, which is bad enough, versus someone coming into your savings account, into your home, and taking your life savings from you. That's what this was. But then the US took it even a step further, right? Getting global buy-in to then use the profits off of those sanctions, if they could, to then fund Ukraine. And whether or not you agree with this, that precise moment will likely go down as a pivotal turning point in the collapse of the dollar, accelerating the shift away because people for the first time really knew without a doubt that holding dollar reserves was a risk, not a safeguard. But here's the difference. What's going on now, what once was just frustration, is turning into action. Which brings us to number 3, geopolitical alliances. Now again, make no mistake, this move to push away from the dollar, it's not new. It's been simmering for decades because countries have long wanted a more balanced financial system. Who can blame them? But this is where we have BRICS. An alliance, of course, led by Russia and China, joined by nations like India, South Africa, and others, spearheading a global rebellion against the dollar to remove the threat of economic weaponization that has long loomed over them to create a more equitable global economy. But as long as the dollar is still king, they will never be free, which is why they are already trading in local currencies, developing independent payment systems, and leveraging their vast commodity resources to steadily reduce reliance on the dollar. Now, Uncle Jim might say, I don't know, they've been talking about this forever. Nothing has happened yet. And while yes, it's true that it wasn't an overnight upheaval of the dollar, I'm sure the way that maybe some would have liked, this is like a boulder rolling down the hill. It starts small, but it starts gaining momentum, and at a certain point, you cannot stop it, and that's what's going on. Of course, the BRICS membership has now grown to 10 nations with over 30 applications. But it's not just the number